Oh yeah guys, welcome back to this channel. Today we wanna talk about the hard truth that too many try to ignore. The whites took everything from the foundational black Americans and yet still have the audacity to blame, to disrespect and gaslight them. So guys, let's break this down. I'll be back with more commentaries. Stay tuned and kindly let me know your thoughts in the comment section.
And I'm not even going to say only white people, because there were a number of non-black people who were also not white or white adjacent coming in the comments on a video where I spoke nothing about braids to come and tell me that they can wear braids and that's not cultural appropriation, in a way to harass me, using braids as a means to harass black people. And even for me, the uprising of calling AAVE Gen Z language, and the same people who harass us on these apps lip syncing to Black American sounds and Black American music, but are the same people who will come into our comment sections and harass us for being Black or speaking about things that are culturally Black and telling us, no, it's not. But these are the same people running to support this conversation regarding the whitewashing and colonization of this boba tea brand on that show. And I fully support that man speaking up about it on that show. However, I do wish that Black people got the same support when we speak about things that are culturally specific to us and preserving it and respecting it. Especially the fact that we are not only told that we don't have any culture, but we're also disrespected with our culture by people stealing our culture.
I'm tired of people speaking negatively about the Black community. I'm tired of seeing fake headlines painting Black people in a bad light to get some attention. I'm tired of people justifying their racism and hatred and diverting it to Black people who, for the most part, mind their own business and positively contribute to society. Black people are net positive to any community that gets the pleasure of being around them. Most Black men and women are very upstanding individuals. Do you know the level of discipline most Black families have to go through just to try to fit into America from back in the day? It doesn't matter how hard we try, how much we contribute, what we do, everything we accomplish, what we invent. No matter what, it still comes back down to this weird focus and obsession with hating Black people, and I don't get it. This video is in response to the looting headlines circling LA. They're saying that looting is occurring in LA while these fires are going on. I'm sure there is. However, the only video that came out was a bunch of Black people in a house moving stuff out of the house with fire trucks and policemen all around the house. So you truly believe that these people are robbing a house right in front of policemen and firemen? So the neighborhood is too nice. It can't be their house they're moving their stuff out of, very calmly, walking very slowly. What is this weird societal obsession with taking all your rage and hatred out on the Black community? I don't understand it. We have put up with this all of our lives, and it still continues today. It doesn't matter how successful we get. It doesn't matter how much we contribute. These are the same headlines that I saw as a kid that made me not want to be Black, because I was taught by America to hate myself because Black people are bad. Is the Black community that profitable at the expense of how the world views them? Skit coming soon. And guess what? If people are looting and some of them happen to be Black, they're bad people, not bad Black people. Let's get that straight.
One of the worst things about being Black in America has got to be experiencing racism from other minorities, bro. That shit is so disheartening. Like, damn, bro, you too. And one of the reasons why we be feeling so jaded about this is because Black people are always down with other people's causes. Like, to be Black in America means that it's ingrained in your nature to stand up against injustice. And that shit just don't be feeling reciprocated, bro. Like, Black people are always accepting of other people into our cultures. We might make our jokes or whatever, hee hee ha ha, but if you contribute to our culture, we will welcome you into our spaces. And it just be sad to, like, it'd be like, damn, bro, you too.
So a lot of white people are like, oh my God, like Black people make everything a race issue. So-and-so makes everything a race issue. And I just want it to be known that if you look hard enough, you can find racism attached to almost everything in society. Not just American society, but like predominantly Western societies. Racism is somehow some way attached to it. Ergo, y'all need to be taking that up with your ancestors and not with me. Because just because I point things out in the system does not mean that I built the system. You're mad at me for seeing. You need to be mad at your ancestors for building. And you need to be mad at yourself for not deconstructing. So stop coming in Black folks' mentions talking about how y'all make everything about race when white people constructed race and perpetuates racism. Y'all need to be mad at your ancestors. Y'all spend too much time being mad at me. Be blessed.
Good morning, y'all. This morning I'm very much bothered. And I think by the end of this video, y'all gonna be bothered too. Last night I watched a TikTok and there was this young man, and he said he went into a restaurant and there was an older white man celebrating his birthday with his family, 96 or something like that. And he said that, you know, he congratulated him, happy birthday and all that. And then the white man started to talk to him. And he said there's so many things in his life he regrets. And he began to tell him about how he was a firefighter, you know, when he was working. And he said that back in the 60s and 70s, times were different. And he said it was very common practice, him included, he admitted to this, that there would be burning buildings, burning cars, or burning structures where Black people were in there, and they would pretend like they didn't hear their screams and not save them on purpose. And he said, you know, the last time that he did it, he went into a building to go get a baby, a black baby. And he went in, he heard the baby screaming and crying, and he just stood there and came out and said, oh, I couldn't save him. And the young man said, you know, for a second, I wanted to pull the plug on his old behind, right? But then he came back and said, wait, of course they did. Of course they did. And it wasn't just him. This was the whole police department for years and years and years. Not just him, but everybody else in the police department. I mean, in the fire department. But like I was saying, he said, of course they did. They all hate us. It don't matter what field they're in. He was like, I knew police, you know, people at the job, in every other area and sector, and in the hospitals. He's like, but you would never think that another human being would let another human being burn to death, hear their screams, and just stand there and let them die. But of course they did. And I don't know if this was this old man's way of kind of like apologizing or coming clean about it to make him feel better. But let me tell y'all something. That made me so, that made me so sick. But I'm not surprised. When there's a group of people that used to have barbecues, cookouts over a hanging families, they would have families of hanging people, black people, and have a barbecue up under their bodies. Kids running around playing, smiling. How could you expect anything more from that? How could you? There's a lack of empathy that just blows my mind. And nobody gets away with anything. So when you see these older people walking around and it's because of all that demonic evil sin that they've done to us in particular in their day. And if anybody knows me, you know that I don't care what color, I really don't. But I'm not going to be shamed into being quiet about the things that have been done against us from a certain group of people. I'm not going to be shamed into being quiet about it. Okay? And they're going to pay for that. They're going to have to answer to God for that. The same way we had to answer, the same way we getting punished, and the same way all this stuff, the oppression, the slavery, all that has happened to us because of what our forefathers did, they're going to pay for it. And I think they're starting to realize that. Because what's happening is, what I'm noticing is, they're splitting into two. There's one sect of people.
Guys, before we go further, we know that foundational Black Americans have always been at the center of America's progress, yet their sacrifices, their labor and contributions continue to be disrespected, dismissed and stolen from culture to resources. History shows how white settlers and their descendants took everything while still blaming FBA for problems they never caused. So guys, this is why this video is diving deep into how FBA are pushing back against the lies, the gaslighting and constant disrespect. They are standing firm, unapologetic, and calling out the truth that America doesn't want to face. So guys, let's continue watching the remaining clips. I'll be back with more commentaries. Stay tuned and let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Don't forget to like and subscribe to this channel.
Let me not discriminate against them. Let me try to get this hate out of my heart against them. And there's another group of people that knows what's coming, and they say, let me squeeze tighter. Let me do a little bit more, because they get out of control. So you guys understand that, like I said, when war is happening, it's going to be a silent war on us. It already is, but it's going to be more. And I know no one wants to talk about this. No one wants to admit this or even acknowledge it. But them people that's racist against us, God's children, the people that hate us, that have malice in their hearts, that have literally spilled our innocent blood on the ground, have partaken in that, have benefited from it, and have not repented of it, and still do it to this day, they are going to hell. And we don't talk enough about hell anymore. I know back in the day it used to be hellfire and brimstone. Hell still exists, and I don't think people are afraid of hell enough at this point. But they are going to hell. People that have hatred in their hearts, you are akin to a murker. And you know what I mean by murker. You hate your brother, you are akin to a murkerer. And like I said, that is what keeps me at peace. Because I know one day God is going to make it all right. And this is not just for one race, but they're going to pay for that as a whole, as a race, their forefathers, what they've done. They're going to pay for it. But all of the wicked, all of the evil, all of the people, no matter what color, race they are, that have engaged in wickedness, unrepented wickedness, they will pay for it. God is going to make it all right. And even us that have repented, we still are going to be judged. Everybody will be judged. And it's a scary thought. But I just wanted to tell y'all that because I know that we as black people are very tired. We are tired. And if you think God has not heard our blood spilled on the ground crying out to him the same way Abel's blood cried out to him from the ground, his innocent blood, the same way Cain is marked, those that have spilled our blood, innocent blood, they are marked as well. They are marked as well. God has not changed. He's the same God. And if they have not repented of that, and repenting means asking for forgiveness and turning away from it, we're all going to get, let me get away from that. But it's not too much longer now, y'all. And we may never see it in this generation. We may never see it. My generation, even my kids, we don't know. But we do know one thing. God has not changed. He is still the same God. So do not think or believe that all these people that you see walking and running around, riding their bikes, jogging without a care in the world, money, all of that was built on our blood and our bodies, it will be destroyed, and it will be repaid to us. But that's enough of my rant, y'all. We're tired.
My first grade teacher, Mrs. Curran, came into the classroom and told us that John F. Kennedy, our president, that everyone was so proud of, had been killed. We couldn't believe our teacher was crying, but everybody cried that week. I was part of the first generation to have all of the news fed TV in our living rooms. So we saw the marches under threat from police. We saw the fire hoses slamming the bodies against the walls. But there were very few black people in our town, so I didn't see these white on black atrocities firsthand. I was an impressionable child of about 11 when Martin Luther King was murdered. I was raised to believe that white people were the good guys, so none of this added up. Why were white people doing such bad stuff? I saw them sick attack dogs on black people in the streets, throw them in jail, hang them from trees for God's sake, although Mom tried to protect us from that. But it was there, it was in the world, it was around us. People marched through a gauntlet of policemen with clubs. Weren't the police supposed to be there to protect people? Many years later, I became friends with Reverend Dwight Brown. He was a white Unitarian Universalist minister who marched with Dr. King at Selma. He told me about walking beside a woman whose arm had been broken the day before by the police. This brave woman insisted on marching at Selma anyway, and I'm sorry that I don't remember her name. He and another man flanked her the whole way to protect her from the police that were standing there with clubs. So there were a few good white men, but why so few? I had been fed all the right moral messages, red and yellow, black and white, Jesus, It wasn't until my family moved to New Orleans at age 13 that the contradictions in what people said and what people did became really clear. I had been fed all the right moral, verbal messages, but I hadn't seen the wrongs up close. So I believed what I was told until these questions turned into gigantic red flags. Here's the message white people were told. Rich and powerful people are the real good guys. They do the heavy lifting in our culture. Now, nobody said that outright to us. They just showed us you're supposed to think the rich and powerful are cool and to fawn over them. Ordinary white people are part of the powerful team, but we don't have to do anything. We can leave that up to the rich people. All we have to do is be comfortable. And the thing that makes us most uncomfortable is how all these black people and immigrants and indigenous people keep messing things up for us and our close personal rich people who care so much about us. We would be so much better off, we were told, so much more comfortable, if not for them. So white people vote for the interests of the rich and powerful without noticing how their real interests are actually being trashed by the rich and powerful. The civil rights movement made legal changes possible, but it also triggered deep resentment. Every step forward for black Americans was treated as a loss by white Americans, and that resentment never went away. It always went back to the same thing. Powerful people convincing the white masses that they're on the same team, and then pointing the finger of blame at black people, at indigenous people, at women, at gay people, anyone who also had no power and could be scapegoated. That is the history and the foundation of America. Nixon used law and order to signal which side he was on. Black people were just lawbreakers. Reagan targeted black mothers with that welfare queen myth, while at the same time convincing white folks that trickle-down economics would help them. It never did. It can't. It cannot work. Bush flooded black communities with those crack-era drug crackdown policies, and each generation of reframing reality added to the myth of white superiority in the minds of white people. So what I'm saying here is that white people are the ones that have been snowed through all of this. Trump said all that out loud, and millions of white people in the United States were ready to hear him. They cheered as our country crumbled under the weight of centuries of smoke and mirrors. White people deserve to be comfortable. People of color cause all our problems, and none of that is true. One share shows you care about setting the record straight. Next time, get curious. We'll talk about the Equal Rights Amendment, the Vietnam War, and how protesting itself became the enemy in the eyes of those who wanted more control. Have a good one.
Well, yeah, guys, we have come to the conclusion of this video, and we are here to break all this down. From the very beginning, America was built on the backs of FBA. It was their labor, it was their genius and their resilience that created the foundation of this nation. Yet, instead of respect, instead of justice, FBA, the foundational black Americans, were robbed of wealth, they were robbed of land, they were robbed of identity, and also robbed of dignity. Even after centuries of free labor, forced exploitation, and systematic oppression, instead of being honored, FBA are still blamed for the problems America created. White America took the culture, the music, the fashion, the inventions, and even the struggle, but they won't give this credit where credit is due. Instead, they mock, they disrespect, and they rewrite history. But here is the reality. FBA are not staying silent anymore. Every day, more people are speaking up, challenging their lies and calling out the hypocrisy. They are saying loud and clear, you will not steal from us, they turn around and shame us, you will not erase us, you will not silence us. FBA are demanding recognition of their role. They are demanding justice for the theft of their wealth, and also demanding disrespect for the culture they built and continue to protect. So understand this, no matter how uncomfortable it makes some people feel, FBA won't stop calling them out. The truth cannot be hidden, and the voices of Black America are stronger than ever, because without foundational Black Americans, there is no America. That is what is, period. So guys, I hope you have heard it all. Thank you so much for watching this video. In case you have any thoughts or comments, kindly let me know in the comment section. And also, I give credit to all the original creators of the video. This video is meant for educational purposes and commentary purposes as well. Thank you so much. Be blessed and have a nice time.